Recently, someone commented on one of my videos asking me how I would create these text effects, but with transparent backgrounds. So that's what I'm going to show you guys today in this Affinity tutorial. I'll be using my metal text effect and my glowing text effect to show you a couple ways we could go about it with the differing effects. These two text effects are previous video tutorials I've made. I will link a card somewhere up here for you to find them, but you can also just find them on my channel. Let's get started. So first things first, if you've made this text effect and you want to make a transparent background, let's take a look at our layers and see what happens when we toggle the visibility. So if we turn off the visibility on the bottom black layer, you'll see that it kind of messes with the typeface. And we have this gradient here that is being made with our gradient layer and our curves layer. So let's turn that back on. Can we get rid of this gradient layer? If we get rid of the gradient layer, it removes the reflective attributes of the text. So exporting this for transparency is gonna take a little bit of work. So the first thing that I would do is select all of your text effect layers. We'll ignore the Affinity logo that was for my YouTube thumbnail. And at the bottom of the layers panel, click on this folder icon to put them in their own group. All right, so we want to be able to keep the black fill layer and the gradient fill layer, but we just don't want it going outside of the text. So we will need to include a layer mask. So we could put a layer mask on both the gradient fill layer and the black fill layer, but it would actually be easier and quicker to put a layer mask on the entire group. So holding Command on my keyboard, I'm gonna select the thumbnail of my original text layer here. And now you can see the marching ants selecting my text. Now I'm going to make sure the group is selected, and at the bottom of the layers panel, I'm going to click the mask icon. All right, so now we see that the entire group has been masked out, and now our text effect is on a white background and it has not been altered. You can go ahead and hit Command D on your keyboard to deselect. So once you're this far, let's ensure that our background exports as transparent by going to Document, Setup, Transparent Background. And so once you see this checkerboard pattern, that means that area is transparent. So now we can go to File, Export, Export, select PNG, and now select Export, and I will export this to my desktop as is and hit save. All right, so now that we are on my desktop, if you look down here, there's the file that I just saved. The thumbnail looks like it has a white background, and if we open it up, you will see that now it has a gray background, which means that it worked. When you open up PNGs in Preview, any transparency is just translated as a gray background. However, if you were to bring this into Google Docs or over an image in Photoshop or Affinity, you will know that this is a transparent PNG. All right, so another text effect I will attempt to make transparent is this glowing text effect. This is a text effect from a previous tutorial. I will link that up here in a YouTube card if you want to check it out. So taking a look at our layers, let's just hide this bottom text layer and this background layer and only work with our main glowing group. So if we open up our group, we have our black background, and if we hide that, then we're seeing the result of the clouds layer. And if we were to hide the clouds layer, now we see nothing. So let's turn those back on. Now the clouds layer just adds some texture to this effect, so you could probably delete it if you don't mind having this very neon looking light in your glow. But I like having this cloud layer. So I'm going to hold down Command on my keyboard and then select the thumbnail of my bottom glowing layer. Now I'm going to select my clouds, or actually in Affinity it's Perlin noise, it's clouds in Photoshop, but nonetheless, select it. At the bottom of the layers panel, select the mask icon. So I have just masked out this layer, and now it is only inside the selected area. Hit Command D to deselect. So the next step is trying to select as much of this effect as we can, which is going to be a little tricky because it's very hard to select these nice feathered edges. So I'm going to hit Command on my keyboard and then select the thumbnail of my bottom glow layer. If you try to do this to any of the top few layers, it just won't work because they're too blurry. With any selection tool selected, you'll have this refine option. So go ahead and click refine. And now let's bring the ramp up. The ramp will help us expand this selection. Keep bringing the feather up and maybe the smoothness. All right, so I've adjusted these settings like so, and so you can try to copy some of my numbers. If we change preview from overlay to, let's try transparent, we'll get a better idea of how much we are selecting. And let's just hit apply. We got a pretty good selection of our effect. And so now what I'm going to do is close up the group. With the group selected at the bottom of the layers panel, we're going to mask it out. So I'm going to grab my brush tool. I'm going to set the foreground color to black, and we'll use this brush to continue masking out more parts of the image. Let's scale up our brush to a nice big size. And under the hardness, let's open this up and bring it all the way down to 0. So we'll get a nice fluffy brush. And with the mask thumbnail selected, let's go ahead and mask out these hard edges of the effect that we don't want. And this is going to take a little bit of time and some continued adjustment of your brush. All right, so once we're at this point, it's not perfect, but it's good enough for us to continue the tutorial. So again, let's go to Document, Setup, Transparent Background. And now you can see that the space around the text is transparent, as well as some negative space within the text. And that's just a given because this is a glowing effect. So there will be some transparency within the effect as well. And now we just export it the same way we did for our last effect. Okay, so because this is a glowing effect and has several shades of this pink color, I would actually recommend trying out a full range PNG. We don't necessarily need 32-bit, but 16-bit would work really well. And then you can go ahead and export this, and you'll have exported your glowing effect with a transparent background. I hope this tutorial helps you as you continue learning Affinity and making these effects. I know a lot of you want to use these effects on different design materials, so let me know in the comments if you have any other questions or any other tips you want me to make videos about. Thanks for watching.